Thanks for joining me again to another one of my mathematics sessions. In this tutorial, we will be looking at how to draw the graph of a given equation. Now on screen, you are seeing a Cartesian plane that has already been graduated, and keep in mind that our x-axis is that horizontal number line and our y-axis is that vertical number line. Remember, that point where our axes meet is called the origin. To the right of my origin, I have my positive x-axis. To the left of my origin, I have my negative x-axis. Above my origin, I have my positive y-axis, and below my origin, I have my negative y-axis. So that is basically a quick review of how to go about numbering or graduating your axes to form your Cartesian plane. Now let's have a look at an equation. Okay, so let's say we have the equation y equals 2x plus 1, and they are asking us to draw the graph for this equation. Firstly, we must have some points. Remember, that is what we plot on our Cartesian plane. We plot points on our Cartesian plane. Given this equation, we can easily get some points from it by simply creating a table of values. So we can have a table with x values and y values. Now, a good set of values to choose is -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Now, the reason for this is that it caters for some negative values as well as positive values, and it also includes 0. So we have an idea of what our graph looks like to the left of our origin as well as to the right of our origin. So that set of values, I'm going to write it here. Remember, we have two sets, it's x and y, so we are choosing some x values. These are our x values here. And how are we going to determine our y values? Now, given this equation, y equals 2x plus 1, it is saying that in order to get our y value, we need to take our x value, multiply it by 2, and then add 1 to it. That is what 2x plus 1 tells us. We have to take our x value, multiply it by 2, and then add 1 in order to arrive at our y value. So our first value that we are going to consider is this -2. When x is -2, let's work out what y is going to be. So we have our equation y equals 2x plus 1. When x is -2, I'm going to get y is equal to 2 multiplied by -2 plus 1. So we are going to get 2 multiplied by -2 gives us -4 plus 1, and that is going to give us -3. So that is our first pair of values. We have -2, -3 as one coordinate. This is a point. So this is our first point. So let's try plotting that first point. I have to look on my Cartesian plane for where x is -2. I'm seeing it here. And then I look for -3 on my y-axis, and that is under here. So I'm going to use a different color to plot the points. That is our first point. Remember, when we are plotting points, we can either put a dot and encircle it, or we can put an X. Okay, so let's work out for our second point. Remember, our equation is 2x plus 1, and our x values are going to be changing based on our values here. So our next value is -1. When x is -1, y is going to be equal to 2 multiplied by -1 plus 1. 2 multiplied by -1, -2, plus 1 is -1. So my y value here is -1. So I have another point, -1, -1. So I look for -1. It's here. And I go down until I find -1 on my y-axis. So it's going to be here. That's my second point. Let's work out our third point. Y equals 2x plus 1. That's my equation. So now we are considering when x is 0. So we are going to get y is equal to 2 multiplied by 0 plus 1. And we are going to get 0 plus 1, which is 1. So that's my third point. Let's plot that. 0, 1. 0, 1 is here. Next, when x is 1. So we write back our equation. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. Remember, now we are working when x is 1. So y is going to be 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1. And that gives 2 plus 1, which is 3. So my next point is 1, 3. 1, 3 is going to be here. Next, our last point, I'm just going to do my working at the top here. Y equals 2x plus 1. Remember, here now we are using x is 2. That's our last value in our table. So y is going to be equal to 2 multiplied by 2 plus 1. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4 plus 1, and that is going to give us 5. So my next point is 2, 5. So I look for 2 on my x-axis. That is here. And I go up until I find 5, and that is about here. So that's my next point. And that's it there. You have all your points. Now you simply need to connect them using the best straight line that you can draw. And that's it there. You have now drawn the graph for the equation y equals 2x plus 1. Now, just something to note. Remember, we chose these x values, right? And I told you that these x values are actually a good set to consider because it caters for some negative values as well as positive values and 0. Sometimes questions may be given where they give you values to work with, right? And in this case, they simply told us to draw the graph of this equation. They did not give us x values or y values to work with. So we decided that we will choose some x values and substitute those values one at a time into the equation for x. So that is it there. You have just learned how to go about drawing the graph for a given equation.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more of my videos.